Good evening and welcome to Wembley Stadium for the 36th staging of the World Individual Speedway Championship, sponsored by the Sunday Mirror.
In this meeting you don't go out and you got an easy. You can't look in the program and say, well, this is an easy race, because they're all hard, really hard.
I'm a little bit behind everyone, against everyone in Wembley.
Yeah, but you fancy to score some points at Wembley?
I will do my best.
Doesn't have ambition easier to come up on that rostrum.
But I think it's going to be a really good racing track on Saturday.
We have with us this evening John Davis of Poole and England. John, you were on a world final parade a year ago. What's going through the minds of these competitors?
I think most of them are just thinking about their first race and winning that first race. It's essential to get off to a good start, not just from the starting line, but to win your first race, or, you know, at least get 2 points from your first race.
Or here at Wembley, what do you think the pressures on the four Englishmen will be?
Well, obviously I know all four of them very well, having ridden with them for quite a long time. I would think probably Dave's a little bit edgy by now. Not so much edgy, but he's a very deep thinker. He tends to keep himself to himself a bit. Michael's probably just going out there to prove everybody wrong.
Me this year, I think I've been written off, really. I think a lot of people have put me out of the, favourite category, and I should be out there to try and prove them wrong.
I would say Kenny's probably trying to do an Ivan major. I think Ivan's probably geared him up the right way and told him exactly what to do. He's probably just like an Ivan major inside a Kenny Carter shell at the moment.
Well, I've been connected with him now for a couple of years, on and off, and well, he's a young racer and he's a bit of a tiger, and if he doesn't win it now, he's going to win it in the next 2 or 3 years anyway.
As for Chris Morton...
Sorry, Chris. Yeah, Chris, I don't know, he's usually pretty relaxed. He's just normal, he'll just be himself.
Yeah, the practice has gone fairly well. We've decided which bike we're going to use, and I'm feeling confident that everything's how I want it.
Yeah. Well, let's put you on the spot, John. It's always prediction time whenever a world final comes around. In the Speedway Mail, you've plumped for Ollie Olsen. Do you stick by that, and if so, why?
Yes, I stick with Ollie. I think he's got so much experience at this level.
Well, I don't know really the advantage. I think the atmosphere and all that gets to a lot of people, but I think that's something you either got or you haven't got. So
obviously Michael's going to be there or thereabouts. He's either going to have a really hot night or a really cold night. You can never discount Dave unless he has mechanical gremlins. And then what can you say about Bruce? He's been riding so well just lately and he really deserves it. But will he turn the goods up on the night?
How do you fancy your chances compared with everybody else's?
Well, I've got just as good a chance as anybody right now. I feel confident. I've had a good year, my best year in my lifetime this year. It's been my best. I'm confident. I know my machinery's fantastic. My mechanics are all 100%. They know the bike's going to be all right. I have no gripes. I just hope I can put it together. You never can tell.
Let's just recap that lineup. At number 1, Edward Jansash of Poland. His British League club is Wimbledon. Number 2, Tommy Knudsen of Denmark. His British League club is Coventry. Number 3, Ollie Olsen of Denmark. His British League club also Coventry. Number 4, Larry Ross of New Zealand. His British League club Bellevue. Number 5, Kenny Carter of Great Britain. His British League club Halifax. And number 6, Zenon Plek of Poland. His British League club Hackney. Igor Müller of West Germany does not compete in the British League. Chris Morton of Great Britain, his club Bellevue. Michael Lee of Great Britain, his club Kings Lynn. Eric Gundersen of Denmark, his club Cradley. Bruce Penhall of the USA, his club Cradley also. Jan Andersson of Sweden, his club is Reading. Alice Drummel of Czechoslovakia does not compete in the British League. Yuri Stankel of Czechoslovakia does not compete in the British League. Hans Nielsen of Denmark rides for Birmingham. And Dave Jessup of Great Britain rides for Kings Lynn. Your 16 competitors for the 1981 Sunday Mirror World Championship. So into Heat 1 with Edward Jansash in red on gate 1, Tommy Knudsen in blue on gate 2, Ollie Olsen in white on gate 3, and Larry Ross, yellow and black, gate 4. 3 points for a win, 2 points for second, 1 point for third, no points for coming last. Heat 1. Paul Johnson getting the riders to settle down, ready. The tension in front of the 92,500 crowd, absolutely electric. The track well prepared by Len Silva. Rather wet and grippy, the tapes away. A very even start. Olsen comes charging through the middle there. Ross attempts to come to the outside successfully. Ross to the lead. In comes Tommy Knudsen from that pack. All sorts of bumping and barging. A very close first corner, but it's Tommy Knudsen in the lead. It's Ollie Olsen now is second. In third place, Edward Jansash. And in fourth place, Larry Ross, who looks so good on the first turn. But Tommy Knudsen leading by the literal mile here. Olsen in second place under pressure from Edward Jansash of Poland. The two Danes, but it's the junior Dane, Tommy Knudsen, the 19-year-old, leading the 34-year-old Great Dane, the 3 times world champion Ollie Olsen to second place. What a dream start for Tommy Knudsen. If he wins tonight, he'll be the world's youngest ever Speedway champion. What a wonderful start for him as he comes round the pits bend at Wembley. Comes in to take the yellow flag for Paul Johnson. Just 1 lap from a tremendous debut. It's his first world final. He's 19 years of age. This is utterly sensational. All the money was on Ollie Olsen, but Olsen is now looking at the rear wheel of his young compatriot as Knudsen comes round for the final time. He comes in, 3 points for Tommy Knudsen, 2 for Ollie Olsen, 1 for Edward Jansash, and none for Larry Ross. A sensational opening to the 1981 World Speedway Championship. So into Heat 2 with Kenny Carter in red on gate 1, Egon Muller in blue on gate 2, Zenon Plek in white on gate 3, and Chris Morton in yellow and black on gate 4. Well, 2 Englishmen, plenty here for the British fans to cheer at Wembley. Kenny Carter, who represents Halifax, on gate 1, and Chris Morton from Bellevue, Manchester, on gate 4. Tapes away, another even start. Good gate, rider in white, and the rider in white. Zenon Plek comes round there, Plek in the lead. Hotly pursued by the rider in red, Kenny Carter. And Carter takes an inside lunge. The whole stadium screams. Morton looks for the inside lunge as well. Carter came through, can Morton. Morton gets that extra bit of grip, that extra bit of power. He comes through to second place. Zenon Plek is down, Plek into the fence. And so there are 3 riders left in. It's Kenny Carter who burst through there on Zenon Plek in the lead. It's Chris Morton in second place, and Egon Muller, used to long tracking, may find the Wembley bends very tight. He's in third position, a fortuitous third place for him, with Zenon Plek having tumbled and out of this race having led. But here he is, Kenny Carter, the noise in the stadium, the Halifax fans down by the starting gate going berserk. But Chris Morton also now, Mighty Mort, the man who finds that extra piece of grip and power. He's in hot contention, he's chasing him down the back straight. Can Carter hold on? Carter heads to the pitch bend. Morton knows it's his last chance. Morton looks for an inside run, but Carter looks confident. Carter wins, 3 points. 2 points Chris Morton, 1 point Egon Muller, and the England flag flies high. Well, we've got an enormously strong lineup here for Heat 3 with Eric Gunderson, Bruce Penhall, Michael Lee and Jan Andersson. John, your assessment?
I think this could be the make or break race for either of these 4 riders. I mean, if you look at it, Eric Gunderson, he's a very good starter, and I think he's probably the best of the outsiders here tonight. And he's had a terrific season. Bruce, well, like I said before, what can you say about the man? He's going so well at the moment, he's on the crest of a wave. Michael, he's really got a point to prove. He really wants to prove everybody wrong. And of course, Jan, he's the quiet man of Speedway. You know, he's I don't know. I've ridden with him 2 seasons at Reading, and he's a hard man to beat. And if he gets his nose in front, I can't really see any of them passing him. I might be wrong.
So we have Eric Gundersen in red on gate 1, Bruce Pennell in blue on gate 2, Michael Lee, the defending champion, in white on gate 3, and Jan Andersen in yellow and black on gate 4. As John Davis has said, this is a make or break race. A good start is very, very important. You've got 4 potential heat winners here. Let's have a look. This could set the pattern. Bruce Pennell will be anxious that Eric Gundersen does not perform upon him what Tommy Knudsen performed upon Ollie Olsen in the first heat, with Knudsen very much the junior in the team, beating the maestro here. Well, let's have a look. We're all ready. The whole place is rather quiet at the moment. A little bit of nudging from Bruce Pennell. Tapes away in a very ill start. Bruce Pennell looks just to emerge in front. Michael Lee on the outside. In the lead is Bruce Pennell. Michael Lee on the outside. Michael Lee has gone from 2nd to 4th. The 2 have come in on him. The rider in red, Eric Gundersen, has forced his way through. Right in yellow, Jan Andersen has forced Michael Lee out. And Michael Lee there looked good at the start, but he's at the back, and at the front is Bruce Pennell. Pennell leads the man who knows his style so very, very well. Eric Gundersen is going well, riding a very, very good line. 3rd place is Jan Andersen. 4th place is the world champion, the 1980 world champion, Michael Lee, but it's Bruce Pennell, the man on form, hotly pursued by Eric Gundersen. Bruce Pennell, the number 1 at Crayley. Eric Gundersen, the number 2 in the national averages. Top of the British League is Bruce Pennell. Eric Gundersen is number 2 in the British League averages, and what a scrap they're having. Gundersen knows how Pennell rides. He could be the real danger. It's not over yet. The yellow flag's been taken. Could we be in for a sensation dynamic last lap? Pennell, the favourite, the man upon whom all the pressure bears. In the lead, Bruce Pennell, but he's holding steady. He's in the lead. Gundersen now looking not to make an impression. Pennell comes round the pitch turn, and he comes. It's a Crayley 1 and 2. Bruce Pennell 3 points. Eric Gundersen 2 points. Jan Andersen 1 point, and Michael Lee no points from heat 3. Well, John, a very interesting heat. How do you see it?
Well, I think with Bruce winning it as easily as he did, he looked very cool, very confident, and very calm, and I think it's going to take a good man to beat him tonight.
Okay, thank you. Well, heat 4 means we have 4 riders here having their first taste of the track. Hans Nielsen on gate 1 in red, Yuri Stenkel gate 2 in blue, Dave Jessup gate 3 in white, and Alice Drimmel gate 4 in yellow. 2 men to watch here should be Nielsen in red, Dave Jessup, the England captain, in white. Jessup could have won the title here at Wembley in '78, but for an engine failure, he'll be hoping to make amends in this heat 4. Just waiting for Paul Johnson to ensure everybody are ready. Tips away in a good gate from Dave Jessup. Jessup comes across the field, goes into the lead. Absolutely tremendous reception. And now coming around the outside in yellow, Alice Drimmel, who dribbles past the inside by Hans Nielsen, and it's Nielsen now in 2nd place, Drimmel 3rd, and Stenkel 4th. But a golden start for Dave Jessup. Just the sort of dream start he would have wanted and expected. He's an ex-Wembley rider, though. That's 10 or 11 years ago, and obviously the Wembley circuit has changed somewhat, but the atmosphere hasn't. Inexperienced man, he's 28 years of age. It's a now or never attempt in this final, and there he is in the lead, though it must be said Hans Nielsen is certainly getting a little closer and a little closer as the bends come down. In fact, he's got him in his eyesight. Dave Jessup leads, 2nd Hans Nielsen. Drimmel, you can tell he was 3rd, and Stenkel 4th. But the battle is on, going to be on this last lap. Can Dave Jessup hold that lead? Because Hans Nielsen is looking menacing. Though Nielsen takes a very wide line on that bend, leaving Jessup to look untroubled as they come now down towards the pits. They come round the final turn. It's going to be England 3 points here, I think. Yes, Dave Jessup can afford to go over his shoulder. It's Hans Nielsen 2 points, and in 3rd place, Yuri Stenkel 1 point. A marvellous England victory. Well, every rider's had his first race. How's the track looking to you?
It's looking very greasy around the inside. Looking from up here, that is, anyway. The first couple of races look very slippery on the inside. I think it was probably basically due to a little bit of overwatering maybe on the hard patches of the track, and probably the patches that were in the shade, you know, and they didn't really dry out as well as the rest of the track. It's starting to dry out a little now, and the racing's starting to get a bit better.
Right, thank you, John Davis. So into Heat 5 with Alice Trimmel no points, Gate 1 red, Edward Jansash 1 point, Gate 2 blue, Kenny Carter 3 points, that's a Heat win, Gate 3 in white, and Michael Lee no points, Gate 4 in yellow. This is Heat 5. Now I've got to check Zavakin, a pole and 2 Englishmen. Kenny Carter with 1 Heat win under his belt. Can he add another? Tapes away, a very even start, a good start from the outside by Michael Lee. Lee comes from 4 to 1. Carter meanwhile is pushed out, and Carter's going to have to come bombing through. It's Lee in the lead. In second place in blue is Edward Jansash. Kenny Carter's 3rd in white, and 4th in red is Alice Trimmel, and Carter looks to the outside, swoop on Jansash, and comes through. Now Carter sets off obviously to Michael Lee. Michael Lee certainly has not given up the ghost. He was 4th last, no points in his first ride, and he's in the lead. He's going strong as the 2 Englishmen. But again, what resilience, what spirit from the 1980 world champion, but what resilience too from Kenny Carter. Carter grabs the handful, he comes closer, tantalisingly closer. He's come from 3rd, he's trying the impossible. It's not working so far. A steady inside line by Michael Lee. Michael Lee comes charging down the pitch bend. Again, Carter looks to the outside run. The yellow flag about to be taken. Still it's Michael Lee in the lead. A marvellous escape from Michael Lee. An inside line being taken by Kenny Carter. It's getting nearer and nearer that back wheel. Now it's very close on the back straight. A marvellous race here. It's Lee versus Carter. It's Carter's last lunge. Lee holds the inside. Carter tries the outside. They go for the line. It's going to be Michael Lee. 2nd, Kenny Carter. 3rd, Edward Jansash. What a tremendous race for Heat 5. So into Heat 6 with Yuri Stanko 1 point, Gate 1 red, Eric Gunnarsson 2 points, Gate 2 blue, Tommy Knudsen 3 points, Gate 3 white, and Zenon Plek no points, Gate 4 yellow. And the 3 points for Tommy Knudsen implying that he is a previous Heat winner. Of course, the race has been 5, 6, 7, 8. They are the 2nd outings for all respective riders. 20 heats with 5 rides and all riders meeting each other once. Point system again, 3 for a win, 2 for 2nd, 1 for 3rd, and none for 4th. It's interesting to note the riders in blue and white here, the 2 young Danes, Eric Gunnarsson and Tommy Knudsen. It could be Gunnarsson in blue's chance to come back into contention, or Knudsen's chance to stamp a little more points authority. Let's see what happens in Heat 6. Tapes away, good start by both the 2 young Danes. They go in together. A ruthless turn there by Gunnarsson. It doesn't quite work because bursting through there was Eric Gunnarsson. Gunnarsson in the lead. 2nd is Tommy Knudsen. Yuri Stanko is in 3rd place, and bringing up the rear is Zenon Plek. And a handsome lead at this stage for young Eric Gunnarsson of the Crater Heath Heavens and Denmark. Tommy Knudsen, who won Heat 1, is in 2nd place. That's going to be an interesting situation if it stays as it is, because it will give them 5 points each and keep them in contention after 2 races. A handsome lead, it must be about 30 metres for Eric Gunnarsson, his compatriot. Tommy Knudsen takes the 2nd place, and then we have to go back a bit to the Czechoslovakian Yuri Stanko, and bringing up the rear is the Pole Zenon Plek, who rides for Hackney. But Eric Gunnarsson, following the example of his captain Bruce Penhall, who defeated him in an earlier outing, looking very stylish. Their machines are prepared by the same mechanic, Eddie Bull, and along comes on his super-powered Westlake Eric Gunnarsson 3 points, Tommy Knudsen 2 points, and Yuri Stanko 1. That was Heat 6. Well, John, you said as Eric Gunnarsson crossed the line, a new track record, you were right, 66.8, which beats Dave Jessup 67 seconds. How could you tell?
He just looked as if he was flowing. He was just bubbling while he was riding. He was just doing everything right. He didn't put a foot wrong.
The track is superb, you know, and it's lovely.
But really, with the start you've made, you must feel that your chances of winning it are really alive at this stage.
Yeah, but I'm just trying not to get that in my mind, you know, just go out there and do my best, and then hope of a good result at the end, you know.
And so far, as we said, all the riders have had 2 starts, and you're the fastest man around here, claiming the track record in your 2nd ride.
Yeah, but still, you know, I don't want to be too optimistic about it, you know. We just have to wait and see how it goes on.
Important race for 3 riders here, particularly Hans Nielsen, Ollie Olsen.
Yes, they've obviously got 2 points after one race, and Bruce has 3. But all 3 of these riders are all it's possible for any of them to win this race and to win the meeting. It's now's an important time to win races, because otherwise, if you leave it later, then you have to rely on other people having bad luck and not just you winning races.
Okay, let's look at the lineup. It's Bruce Penhall with 3 points, gate 1 red. Hans Nielsen with 2 points, gate 2 blue. Igor Muller with 1 point, gate 3 white. And Ollie Olsen with 2 points, gate 4 yellow. And it's heat 7. Now Bruce Penhall here favoured, of course, I suppose, to some extent by the inside gate. But we shall see. Speedway is so unpredictable. That's all part of the drama and excitement that brings people here in their tens of thousands. 7 takes away, and very even Stevens there, and it's Olsen from the outside. Penhall now forcing himself through all the way from 3rd to 1st, and they're tied together, Olsen and Penhall, as they come down. This is such a vital heat, John Davis was saying, and Olsen certainly got the jump. Penhall came back absolutely magnificently on that first turn, and it is a really exciting, tense tussle as they come down. First time Penhall nearly loses it. Penhall reared there. Olsen meanwhile carries on. 3rd place, Igor Muller. 4th place at the moment, Hans Nielsen. And Nielsen will be looking for the inside jump, but don't worry there, because we can see a titanic battle, the duel, in fact, of the Titans. And Penhall's given it all he's got in an absolutely wonderful Wembley performance. He's looking for the outside line, he's doing everything. It's a real fight, a real world championship decider. They go past, and Penhall comes inside Olsen. Olsen senses it, Olsen goes wide, Olsen nearly loses it, Olsen regains it, Olsen holds it. Penhall looks for the inside run, Olsen drops the gate on him, Penhall looks for the outside. Olsen hugs the inside, Olsen comes along, it's a right to the fight, to the line, and it's Penhall! 2nd Olsen, 3rd Muller, 4th Nielsen, and that must be one of the greatest world final races of all time. One of the greatest Wembley races I've seen. How about you?
Definitely, it just proved that Speedway is an all follow the leader. Bruce made a bad start and he passed Nielsen on the first corner, and then he just gradually picked he just picked up ground on him all the time for the next 4 laps, or 3.5 laps, and he just rode a brilliant last corner. I think actually Ollie outthought himself then, because instead of letting the bike run on the last corner into the dirt, he thought Bruce would be up the inside, and Bruce just came right around the outside of him.
Well, fine, when we come to talk to you after Heat 8 about everybody's prospects, I'm sure you'll be recapping that particular victory. So into Heat 8 with Larry Ross and no points on gate 1 in red. Chris Morton, 2 points, gate 2 in blue. Jan Anderson, 1 point, gate 3 in white. And Dave Jessup, 3 points, a previous heat victory, gate 4 in yellow. I'm sure that Dave Jessup will be looking very closely at Bruce Penhall's performance in the previous heat. If he wins this, he also will be unbeaten after 2 rides. But that's a tall order, because he's got some very formidable opponents on the inside of him. Let's see how things turn out here in Heat 8. 2 Englishmen, Chris Morton in blue and Dave Jessup in yellow. Just waiting for Sam Bass, the Australian referee, to release the tapes. Oh, and a tape break there. Now, we'll see what happens there, and we'll see what the decision is. I just mentioned Sam Bass, the referee, a lot now devolving on his head to make a decision about what happened there, and he's excluding Larry Ross. The red exclusion light has come on. Larry Ross will be excluded from Heat 8. Well, we have a rerun of Heat 8. It's the Polish rider Henryk Olszak who replaces Larry Ross, who offended in the original attempt. I remind you then, it's Henryk Olszak, gate 1 red, Chris Morton, gate 2 blue, Jan Anderson, gate 3 white, Dave Jessup, gate 4 yellow. Long delay on the tape, tapes away, looks good for Jessup, it looks even better for Anderson. When it came to that decisive crunch, it was the English captain who outwitted the Swede and now speeds away down the back straight. Dave Jessup in the lead. In second place is Jan Anderson. Chris Morton is third. Hendrik Olschak is fourth. Dave Jessup there for a second or two on the first bend, looked in danger but wasn't. And if any danger exists at the moment, it's for Jan Andersen, whose second place may soon, very soon, come under challenge from Chris Morton, who's looking for grip and power around the outside and coming up the back straight. Jessup has a reasonable lead, then comes Andersen, but all the time the magic and mighty Mort from Manchester is looking to keep to grips, and after his all-king performance, he came from nowhere. Who can discount him? He's absolutely magical, quite rightly too, and one always has to keep an eye on him. Dave Jessup looks safe in the lead. Andersen second, very steady rider, very difficult to pass, but Chris Morton knows all about passing. Morton will hang on in there. Morton in third place still, and it's going to be a last lunge if anything. Dave Jessup, whoever comes in to win 3 points, it's going to be Andersen second, Morton third. That's how they finish in Heat 8. Well, I said I'd bring John Davis in here to look at the situation after 8 heats. 2 rides apiece. Your estimate?
Well, at the moment it's a 2-horse race, isn't it, between Dave and Bruce. Obviously, being English, I'd like to see Dave do it. They meet in the next race, but I don't honestly think Dave's got the legs to beat Bruce. Being honest, I think it's Bruce's night. He's riding well, especially after that last race. He really outthought Ollie and he outrode him. The track seems to suit him. There's dirt around the outside. Dave doesn't seem to be riding quite as wide as Bruce. He seemed to be staying around the inside a little more. I don't know, if Bruce gets caught up in the traffic, if he makes a bad start, then maybe Dave can pull out a big enough lead early on. Too big for Bruce to do anything about. It just depends on the gate, really.
Well, fine, thank you, John Davis. And so into a very significant Heat 9. Zenon Plek, no points, red, gate 1. Dave Jessup, 6 points, unbeaten, gate 2 blue. Edward Janssens, 2 points, gate 3 white. And Bruce Penhall, 6 points, unbeaten, gate 4 yellow. And really is a crunch. John Davis says it's been a 2-horse race on the points chart. The 2 horses are together. Dave Jessup on gate 2 in blue. Bruce Penhall on gate 4 in yellow. The atmosphere absolutely incredible here, as one can imagine, as we face Heat 9. Tapes away, and Penhall looks good there, so does Jessup. Jessup comes in, at Penhall, ruthless first corner, he comes across, and Penhall with the flashlights thundering around the circuit, comes off there, knowing what was required, knowing his task, looks spectacular. Jessup, never the greatest rider from the back, always good from the front, has everything to do if he wants to put his name on the 36th individual championship of the world. But of course there are many heats to go, but this is so significant. Bruce Penhall here, if it stays as it is, will be on his way to a 3rd consecutive heat victory. 9 points. Dave Jessup of England, 2nd place. And Jessup comes inside, an outside run by Penhall. As I spoke, Jessup came so close to grabbing glory for England, but still it's the USA, the Stars and Stripes coming across the line there. Bruce knows what's required. Dave Jessup knows what's required. He's going to give it the gun, Dave Jessup. Come on, Dave, says everybody from England. But Bruce has his fans. It's the last significant turn. He locks up. Jessup nearly collides. Jessup in trouble. And that means Penhall crosses the line. It's then a 2nd place for the Rhine and Red Zenon Plek. But Janssens was 3rd. Dave Jessup, at a significant moment, has packed up. I bet his heart absolutely sank in his boots. Wembley last time, an engine failure. Wembley this time, another engine failure. Just coming in at least to claim 2 points. A rostrum place impossibly when his engine failed in some way. Tragedy for Dave Jessup of England. And so Heat 10 brings together some very high scorers. Jan Andersen, 3 points, gate 1 red. Kenny Carter, 5 points, gate 2 blue. Hans Nielsen, 2 points, gate 3 white. And Tommy Knudsen, 5 points, gate 4 in yellow. A very strong lineup, with obviously Kenny Carter and Tommy Knudsen sweating there on those 5 points and hoping to keep in contention with the leaders. But no one can ignore that Jan Andersen and Hans Nielsen are themselves first-class riders. A very strong lineup for this Heat 10. Our riders seem to be settled now. Paul Johnson just ensuring everything in place. Tapes away, they're also anchors to go. first bend, and Carter exerts himself through there, comes through the traffic. Rider in yellow, Tommy Knudsen takes advantage of the disadvantage of Jan Andersen on that bend. Andersen comes back at Knudsen, and Hans Nielsen brings up the rear. In the lead, Kenny Carter of Halifax and England. Second, Tommy Knudsen of Coventry in Denmark. And Knudsen dives under Kenny Carter. Knudsen, not one of the favoured riders. A rank outsider, but what a wonderful start and consistency from him. And he's chasing Kenny Carter, and Kenny will know at the end of this 10th heat that he's been in a tremendous race. But England is so proud of the 20-year-old who has spent the last 2 seasons emerging amongst the England ranks. He's now under the tutelage and managership of 6 times world champion Ivan Major. Ivan set him up this special Westlake, and that Westlake has got poke and potency as he pushes his way around the top bend there at Wembley. Comes down the back straight, comes into the pit's turn. Knudsen still hasn't given up the hunt, but no, it's Carter 3 points, Knudsen 2 points, Andersen 1 point. That's how it went in Heat 10. So into Heat 11 with Chris Morton 3 points, gate 1 red. Michael Lee 3 points, gate 2 blue. Ollie Olsen 4 points, gate 3 white. And Yuri Stankel 2 points, gate 4 yellow and black. Michael Lee has had a last and a first, and certainly a burst back in his second outing. We'll see how he performs here. In Heat 11, he, of course, the rider in blue. Very even start, Olsen, a very determined start. Olsen drops across there, he's in the lead at the moment with Michael Lee tucked in, and Michael looking for all sorts of throttling power. I think Olsen's just got the edge. In fact, he has. He emerges just in front, so it's Olsen in front. It's Michael Lee second, looking for an inside space, having a lot of poking power. And Chris Morton, who's no slouch on the inside there. And still Ollie Olsen, I said he's an old war horse. He's a dark horse as well. He looks okay. Michael Lee under pressure of Chris Morton. Now Michael Lee is for the moment shaken off. Chris Morton is going after Ollie Olsen, but Morton's coming for an outside run here. This could be insignificant, and Morton and Lee coming down that front straight there, very, very tight. Morton courageously bursts through. Lee comes back at him. Tremendous scrap for second place. Olsen remains in first place, and what a battle on that lap there. That second lap. Coming to the end of the third lap, Olsen holds a narrow lead on Michael Lee. Michael Lee having pressure from Chris Morton. Will Morton come again? Lee having to worry about Morton. Morton tries the outside run. Lee holds the inside. Olsen, meanwhile, pulls significantly further in front. It's the last bend. It's the pitch bend. And in comes Ollie Olsen, 3 points. Michael Lee, 2 points. Chris Morton, 1 point. And no points for Yuri Stankel. So into Heat 12, when every rider will have completed 3 rides apiece. It's Alice Drimmel with no points, gate 1 red. Larry Ross with no points, gate 2 blue, so they've got something to go for. Eric Gunderson, the new track record holder, 5 points, gate 3 white. And Egon Muller with 2 points, gate 4 yellow and black. And certainly an opportunity for Eric Gunderson, if he takes it, to add to what is a more than respectable total and just keep breathing down the neck of his teammate at Cradley, Bruce Penhall. Heat 12. Rider's very steady, takes away, good gate from Muller. Also from Gunderson settled himself, looks very good, stylish. Comes round that bend very well. Muller comes into second place, Drimmel into third place. Larry Ross brings up the rear. And look at that style, and all sorts of problems, and engine failure, I think, for Eric Gunderson. Oh no, all sorts of problems there for him. He seemed to suffer something, went from first to last, and has had a horror-struck story, which leaves Egon Muller in the lead. It leaves Alice Drimmel second, Larry Ross third, and way behind, looking ever so stylish, but I'm sure sick and sad, Eric Gunderson. Igor Müller, who's been world long track champion from West Germany, leads, but really and truly it must be said, the battle of the no-hopers, all the no-hopers at the front, and poor old Erik Gundersen, who looked absolutely tremendous and first arrived. Something went horrendously wrong there, ran into trouble, and that will put him into the interval looking a very sad man indeed, but he could yet catch them up. Igor Müller's got a magnificent lead now as he comes round with the checkered flag in sight. There'll be points here for Trimmel and for Ross, and poor old Eric's going to come last. Well, lots of disappointment for Erik Gundersen there, John, and I suppose Dave Jessup can't feel too happy either previously.
No, it's been, well, it's just like history repeating itself for Dave. You know, it seems to happen too often, too regularly to him. I think he was in a challenging position as well with Bruce. But, you know, that's history now. You can't really say. He's just got to try and pull himself together and maybe, you know, not feel too disappointed, dejected or whatever, and just fight for a place on the rostrum. Also, Erik Gundersen, I mean, you know, he was in front when it happened. He must feel even worse probably than Dave does. I think Eric's probably got the character, though. He's, you know, he's very easygoing. Maybe that'll pull him through, I don't know. You know, I think he could well, if Bruce had dropped a point, I don't think Erik would have dropped another point. You know, I said to you earlier, I could see him getting in a run-off, you know, for the first couple of places, but as it is at the moment, I don't know.
Well, Bruce Penhall going like a steam train at present.
Yeah, what can you do? No, I don't think there's anybody here capable of stopping the bloke. Maybe Kenny if he gets out of the start. I think it's got to be Bruce all the way now.
I still have 2 really hard heats, and just got to cross my fingers and hope everything goes all right for the last 2.
Looks like Heat 20 is going to be quite a crunch one with Kenny Carter in that one.
Yeah, it sure is. Kenny's got a pretty tough heat just before that, so if he can drop a couple points in there, I'll be feeling pretty good by then.
What about Kenny Carter? How do you think he's looking in this, his first world final?
I think he's doing extremely well.
So into Heat 13 with Igor Müller, 5 points, gate 1 red. Jan Andersen, 4 points, gate 2 blue. Yuri Stenkel, 2 points, gate 3 white. And Edward Jansash, 3 points, gate 4 yellow. So we have a West German, a Swede, a Czechoslovakian and a Pole in Heat 13, reflecting the international flavour of modern-day speedway racing. The Heats 13, 14, 15 and 16 will be the 4th outing for all the riders. There from Jan Andersen. Andersen leads into the first turn. He's followed by Igor Müller, and a little battle going on for third and fourth places between Yuri Stenkel in white and Edward Jansash in yellow, and Jansash gets into that 3rd place. And Andersen in the lead. In 2nd place, Igor Müller of West Germany. Edward Jansash of Poland is 3rd. Jan Andersen, full of jet-like starts at the Reading Racers Stadium at Smallmead, showing that sort of class which hasn't been too apparent in this World Final so far, but no doubt he's been overhauling and looking at his Westlake during the interval, and certainly whatever he's done has provided the answer. Full credit to Igor Müller, who's in 2nd place because he doesn't ride regularly in the British League, and he's keeping out Edward Jansash, who's looked very impressive in recent weeks for the Wimbledon Downs down there in South London. But let's come back to the man who's showing them how in this heat, Jan Andersen of Sweden. Very impressive, very stylish. The Superman, the #1 Swedish speedway rider. 3 points for Jan Andersen, 2 for Igor Müller, 1 for Edward Jansash. That's how they finish in Heat 13. Into Heat 14, Tommy Knudsen, 7 points, gate 1 red. Alice Trimmel, 1 point, gate 2 blue. Chris Morton of 4 points, gate 3 white. And Bruce Penhall, unbeaten so far, 9 points, gate 4 yellow and black. Now can this be the continuing saga of the American superstar, the #1 at Cradley Heath, Bruce Penhall, the only man who remains, as I say, undefeated in, again, a significant race, aren't they? All in World Finals, but an especially significant Heat 14. He's got on the inside of him some pretty hot opponents. Tommy Knudsen, who's had, as John Davis said, a very good and steady first World Final, and Chris Morton, who is always a danger. Well, tremendous bubbling enthusiasm here at the stadium. The riders settle. Concentration is 100%. Paul Johnson indicates all is okay. The tapes rise. Penhall shoots from the tape. So does is Knudsen. Knudsen comes across Pennell, goes super wide. Pennell takes advantage. Pennell comes out. Knudsen comes back at him. Knudsen comes under him. And there we have it. Hey, now Pennell has got a race to ensure that he stamps himself through. He hasn't got the point so far, but it's Knudsen in the lead. It's Bruce Pennell second. It's Chris Morton third. It's Alice Dremmel fourth. Knudsen seemed to have missed it. Totally. But no, he hadn't. He swung back. He came under. It was dramatic. It's fever pitch here. Tommy Knudsen, so good, so consistent. He's in the lead. He's got just a good lead. Can Pennell come back? Pennell knows every point important. Boys like Kenny Carter will be watching. Pennell tries the big lunge, the outside run, but still Knudsen holds the inside. Come to the pitch turn. It's dramatic. They tussle. They lock up. They come out together. Still Knudsen in front. Knudsen looks over his shoulder. Dangerous tactics. Never do it in athletics. And not in Speedway either. Here comes Pennell. Still on the lunge. Still on the attack. Closer, closer, closer. But still Knudsen holds the inside. Pennell on the outside. Pennell and Knudsen full throttle together around the outside. It's Pennell. It's Pennell to the line. Or is it? Is it Knudsen? It's Pennell. Knudsen second, Morton third. Another magnificent race. And if he wins the title, by goodness me, he's won it in style. So in heat 15, Dave Jessup 6 points red, gate 1. Ollie Olsen 7 points, gate 2 in blue. Eric Gunnarsson 5 points, gate 3 in white. Kenny Carter 8 points, gate 4 in yellow. All high scorers, all vitally important. Kenny Carter must win to keep on the tail of the man we've just seen in action, Bruce Pennell. Kenny Carter, he's on gate 4 in yellow. But lots of formidable opposition. Eric Gunnarsson, no doubt, will be wanting to make amends and go well for the sake of Bruce Pennell, his trading teammate. A tremendous gate from Jessup, puts the whole field into difficulty there. And it's Jessup well in the lead. It's Kenny Carter second. In third place in blue, it's Ollie Olsen. A lot of popping and backing. And Eric Gunnarsson attempting to come right round the outside. And he does so successfully. Tremendous swoop there by Gunnarsson. Somebody's popping and banging badly out there. I don't know if it's Carter, but it may be Carter the way, in fact, he's gone from first to last, and everything is evaporated. It's the story of engine failures, as I said earlier, and an engine failure for Kenny Carter. Really good news for the Penn Hall camp. But here comes DJ, who lost a Jubilee clip, would you believe, in that heat you saw before the interval, but nothing so far remiss. Crossing our fingers, it's Jessup, but Gunnarsson going like an absolute bomb. He came from nowhere, absolutely nowhere, and he's hot on the tail of Jessup, and Jessup packs up as well. The two Englishmen suffer tragedy, a double tragedy for Dave Jessup. And here comes Eric Gunnarsson in to take the points, and the guy in the blue helmet, Ollie Olsen, spectator in chief, takes 2 points, and then nobody's pushing home. For the rest, they're dejected, they've given up. That's terrible and horrible news. Dave Jessup on the opposite side of the starting gate, looking, thinking, what the hell's going on here? And Kenny Carter already back into the pits. And Eric Gunnarsson, Ollie Olsen say, thank heavens. On heat 16 has Michael Lee with 5 points and gate 1 in red. Solon Peck with 2 points, gate 2 in blue. Larry Ross with 2 points, gate 3 in white. And Hans Nielsen with 2 points, gate 4 yellow and black. And no doubt the 1980 world champion Michael Lee on gate 1 in red will be looking to bump up his score and end the night with a respectable score. And of course it must be remembered, with all these engine failures going on, that there could be quite a tight battle at the end of this world championship for rostrum places, if not necessarily number 1, then certainly the 2nd and 3rd places. But Speedway, as we've seen, full of surprises. Let's see what's in store for us in heat 16, and after this every rider will have had 4 rides, and we'll be asking John Davis then for his assessment and his predictions as we look at the final 4 heats. But let's get heat 16 underway with Michael Lee, as I say, in the red helmet, having a superior margin on these other 3 opponents in this race. Takes away, very even start. Lee hugs the inside, comes through, but it's the rider in white, Larry Ross, who comes across, and around the outside of him, Hans Nielsen and Lee. Certainly the pre-race favourite is at the moment only in 3rd place, and it's the rider in white, Larry Ross, showing us a thing or two. A very smart gate there for the New Zealander. New Zealand represented this year only by Larry Ross and not by Ivan Major, who didn't get through from Boyens. Hans Nielsen, he's in second place, and Michael, who just pulled a wheelie over there in the back straight, he's looking to come outside of Hans Nielsen here. Very tight there coming up that front straight, and Michael hanging on for dear life, holds the throttle, but Nielsen, he's a hard, competent performer, comes across him, and we mustn't forget that they're sitting with the blue helmet is Zenon Plek, and Zenon, we forgot all about Zenon, nearly went from fourth to second. Michael Lee is relegated to the back at the moment, not looking good at the moment, but it does look very good for Larry Ross, because while all this archie-barchie and points picking is going on for second, third and fourth places, Larry Ross has absolutely scuttled off. It's Larry Ross 3 points, Hans Nielsen 2 points, Zenon Plek 1 point, Michael Lee, unfortunately, they're last. Heat 16. Well, John Davis, 16 heats gone, 4 races completed for every rider, and again the continuing saga of engine failures.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong. I think there's a little gremlin down in the pit somewhere, and it's hopping from bike to bike. No, I don't know. It's you can't really say what's going on from up here regarding the engine failures, because they all seem to be different. You know, I mean, they could all be something totally different, but I don't know. I mean, world final preparation. Surely you've got to make sure every nut and bolt is new or is at least correct, and someone just hasn't been doing their work properly.
So into heat 17 with Edward Jansash, 4 points, red gate 1, Chris Morton 5 points, blue gate 2, Hans Nielsen 4 points, white gate 3, and Eric Gundersen still with a good score despite his problems earlier, 8 points. Gate 4, yellow and black, and he'll be chasing along hard there with that tight permutation for rostrum placings in prospect. Well, he's on gate 4 here. It hasn't proved to be too much of a disadvantage this evening, and doesn't look too much of a disadvantage there, though Hans Nielsen rides a very hard turn, and Gundersen looks for the outside. Nielsen comes across, Gundersen responds, Gundersen storms past Nielsen, Gundersen in the lead, Nielsen still comes back at him. The two young Danes, the crown pretenders in Danish Speedway. Edward Jansash is third, and Chris Morton a surprising and possibly disappointing last. But Eric Gundersen and Hans Nielsen, they enjoyed a tremendous little battle there on the first bend, from which, as we can see at present, little Eric Gundersen of Crater Heath in Denmark has emerged victorious thus far. Hans Nielsen, who also is Midlands based in the British League at Birmingham, he's in second place and now is beginning to lag. Edward Jansash from Poland, he brings up third spot, and Chris Morton will be attempting to come under Edward Jansash and ensure that he does not finish bottom of the pile in this 17th heat. But again, an enormous lead, and it's not the first enormous lead that the new track record holder at the Empire State in Wembley has enjoyed. That's another fastie, and it's Eric Gundersen 3 points, Hans Nielsen 2 points, but Jansash 1 point, and Chris Morton now trails in last. Well, heat 18 has Michael Lee with 5 points on gate 1 in red, Tommy Knudsen with 9 points on gate 2 in blue, Egon Müller with 7 points on gate 3 in white, and the so unlucky Dave Jessup with 6 points on gate 4 in yellow and black. Last year's World 1 and 2 featured here, of course. Michael Lee, the 1980 winner, Dave Jessup, the 1980 runner-up, and I'm sure Cradley fans will be hoping that will be emulated by their respective pair. But let's see how things develop in this heat 18. Tommy Knudsen, a very fine world final, 9 points. He'll be wanting to add a win to ensure his candidacy for a rostrum place. Egon Müller, well, he's had a very respectable world final for somebody who doesn't ride in Britain on a type of track that really doesn't suit his style. Well, we wait for Michael Lee to settle down, encouraged by the cheers, or was it boos, of the audience here. 92,500 people now waiting for heat 18. Okay, we're ready for action. It's away, very even start on all riders, and it's Knudsen who takes everybody wide there. Jessup really the sufferer of the bumping and barging. Knudsen emerges again in the lead, and it's Tommy Knudsen in the blue helmet in the lead, hotly pursued by Michael Lee, who comes across him, takes his line. Knudsen responds. That was spectacular. That was all action. Knudsen really there has knocked Michael Lee up. We've got controversy. Michael Lee won't be very pleased about Knudsen's tactics there. The bike left on the track. The race continuing. Nothing being done. No red lights coming on. Knudsen seemed to take him wide. We'll see what John Davis thought, but the race is still in progress with Tommy Knudsen in the lead. Igor Muller trying to catch him up in second place, and they're enjoying a point after he'd been bumped and barged was Dave Jessup. Well, Muller's chasing very hard here. He's got a super tune Latin Hammer Westlake, and he's certainly staying very close to Tommy Knudsen. I'm sure that Michael Lee will have a comment or two to make about what happened there. We shall see, but so far Mr. Bass has allowed the race to continue, and 3 points for a hard-riding Tommy Knudsen, 2 points for Igor Muller, 1 point for Dave Jessup. Well, without much more ado, let's bring John Davis in. John, how did you see that?
Well, I don't know. Michael went into the corner. He rode a very good corner, the corner before he crashed, and he passed Knudsen, and they went in the corner very tight, and it sounded to me as if Michael broke a chain. I don't know. I don't think Knudsen knocked him off. It just sounded as if Michael broke a chain.
Right, fine. Well, Sam Bass certainly allowed the race to go on, and so obviously the result for Heat 18 will stand, and that puts Tommy Knudsen in an interesting totals position. And so into the penultimate heat, Heat 19, with Ollie Olsen 9 points, gate 1 red, Jan Andersen 7 points, gate 2 blue, Alice Drimmel 1 point, gate 3 white, and Zenon Plek 3 points, gate 4 yellow and black. Ollie Olsen will have seen Tommy Knudsen's performance in Heat 18. He knows he must win to force a runoff for second place. Let's see how he gets on, because Jan Andersen is beginning to come back. Could be a very interesting Heat 19. Tapes away, a very good break, and Olsen comes across the field, a very hard turn, and in concentrating on everybody else, he nearly gave it to Jan Andersen, but with a great burst of speed, incredible burst of speed. Westlake power and action there. He comes around the outside of Jan Andersen. His Westlakes aren't slow either. The rider in white, Alice Drimmel, who reared but recovered, holds third place. Zenon Plek brings up the rear. They're beginning to string somewhat as they come out of the pitch turn, but Ollie Olsen desperately needs these 3 points. He, as John Davis says, creeps along on the points chart, and he'll be looking there. A man who's always done well at Wembley. He's had 2 victories and other situations which have been beneficial to him as well, but he's away here with 1 lap to go. It's going to be a masterly pupil runoff, incidentally, therefore, between the great old Dane, 34-year-old Ollie Olsen, the original competitor over here in British League, and Tommy Knudsen, one of the new breed. And he comes 3 points here for Ollie Olsen, 2 for Jan Andersen, and 1 for Alice Drimmel. Well, what could be better? That Heat 20 should decide who will be the 1981 world champion. Kenny Carter, 8 points, gate 1 red. Yuri Stankel, 2 points, gate 2 blue. The man that all the attention's on, Bruce Penhall on his Westlake. Gate 3, 12 points, unbeaten so far. And Larry Ross, 5 points, gate 4 yellow and black. Bruce Penhall can afford to come third and be the world Speedway champion and defend that title in a year's time at Los Angeles. Kenny Carter, well, he is a member of the Bruce Penhall fan club, it's rumoured. Let's see, Bruce can afford not to do anything silly here and be the world number 1. It's away, and it's Carter and Penhall. Carter into the first bend. Penhall sits there in second place. Third place in blue will be Yuri Stankel. Carter leads. Penhall knows if he stays where he is, there'll be 14 points of world champion. Whether it be 15, 14 or 13, you're still the world champion. You're still the number 1. And so whilst the eyes may normally be fixed on the man who leads, Kenny Carter, red helmet, everybody knows, everybody's focus is centered around the man in white, Bruce Pennell, 24-year-old from Anaheim, California. We have not had an American world champion since 1937. And that man, the man who won it, Jack Milne, he's here to witness it. Tears no doubt in his eye. 1 lap to go. The yellow flag taken. Pennell looks over his shoulder. How near is Dremmel? Pennell takes it easy. Carter leads. Pennell second. Dremmel third. Carter goes down the back straight, but everybody knows the crescendo of noise, the excitement. Carter comes in to win, but there he is second. The 1981 world champion, where he's in, Bruce Lee Pennell.
Pennell, the 1981 World Individual Speedway Champion. Many congratulations from Mirrorvision. A great night for you, of course, and your country.
Yeah, it sure is. You know, I'm really happy for not only for myself, my family, but my sponsors, and for all of America. I'm just really happy, and it's all over with now, and I did it.
It's been 44 years since it's gone to the land of the Stars and Stripes. It's been a long wait.
That's right. I don't know what to say, but I'm happy it's all over with now, and hopefully I can do it again next year. Everything went great today, and I couldn't have done it by myself. My sponsors and my mechanics and everybody else were just fantastic.
Really caps a marvellous year for you, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does.
Well, Ollie Olsen knows all about World Finals and World Final runners, but could we see the end of an era? Both Coventry riders, both Danes, they know so much about each other. Olsen ruthlessly comes across Knudsen. Knudsen will be tempted to come back as he does now. He's got Ollie Olsen in sight, but Ollie Olsen, no slouch, no fool. Experience galore, came over here in 1967 and has been at the top ever since. Tommy, well, it's his third British League season. He's a lot to learn, but how wonderful that he's going to end on the rostrum come what may. Ollie Olsen powers out of that bend. Turned to Westlake this year after many years with a rival concern. Tommy Knudsen, who's been with Westlake since he graduated from 50cc in Denmark. Around they come. Paul Johnson waits for the yellow flag. He sees him in his sights. Knudsen comes nearer, tantalizing nearer. Olsen senses the danger. He pulls away. He looks commanding. He comes round that top turn. Flashlights popping down the back straight. In he comes. Ollie Olsen, respectability, revenge for Tommy's Heat 1 defeat. Ollie Olsen, world number 2. Tommy Knudsen, very happy, world number 3. So to the victors, the spoils. The American Bruce Pennell comes to meet his fans, flanked by Ollie Olsen and Tommy Knudsen, world number 3.